Working on software projects in academia is very kind of small scale focused software projects. I can think back to Stanford and, implementing some signal processing algorithms for some systems we were designing for class. And, it's maybe a few thousand lines of code, a couple of developers, me and a buddy basically. And you're essentially responsible for everything. You're responsible for all aspects of the code base. Coming into Isotope, it was a real eye-opening experience seeing millions of lines of code and a very expansive code base with many, many engineers, dozens of engineers really working on various aspects of the code base, each with specific focuses. So that was a very different experience. I remember my first commit into the repository and I was really nervous, thinking, oh God, I hope I don't break anything. Because that was the first time I really had to be worried about breaking somebody else's code. Because, you're in there working in the same parts of the code base as your fellow engineers, trying to make bug fixes. And, you can risk kind of trampling on people. So you have to really engage in good communication and good teamwork kind of across the organization in order to make that work.
There's no perfect background in school. You can try and acquire all the skills you want. You can try and take all the classes you think you're going to need. But the truth is the day you step foot in that door, you will realize that the code is a lot more complicated than it was in school. The products you're working on possibly have 10 million lines of code. You have to investigate, decipher, understand how they're broken apart. You also, when I came out of school, I wasn't taught to use a debugger. So I was all of a sudden in this world of gosh, you guys use pretty sophisticated tools and source control and debuggers and stuff. I think that stuff is pretty commonly taught in school these days, but it wasn't when I was there. So I think that there's an adjustment on tools, there's an adjustment on the mindset of coming in and working on a big legacy piece of software. You have to tread lightly, and you have to you really have to spend 90% of your time investigating how to implement something, and then 10% implementing it. Versus in school, you do a lot of implementing and a lot less design and thought and investigation up front. So that was a big change for me. But I was fortunate to have some really good mentors early on who were really tough on me about coding style and keeping dependencies down. And it's good to find somebody who's going to give you that really critical feedback really early. And you may think that it's they're being super picky, but you'll realize over time that some of that feedback is actually really, really useful.